The story begins in a tough mining prison, where hundreds of prisoners work tirelessly. A big machine called the Crusher Pit suddenly breaks down, and a guard named Kai is asked to fix it. After a short while, he manages to get it running again. Things take a dramatic turn when an alarm announces the arrival of a new prisoner. When the others see who it is, they all rebel and attack the guards with sheer strength. Realizing they're outnumbered, a guard activates the Crusher Pit's controls, making the chains around the prisoner's legs pull them toward the pit. In a desperate bid to save himself, Kai makes a daring choice. He cuts off his own leg to avoid being dragged into the pit, driven by adrenaline. He then bravely uses his one good leg to deactivate the Crusher Pit, saving the other prisoners from a terrible fate before collapsing from exhaustion. When Kai wakes up, he finds himself under the watchful eye of a man named Hatcher. Hatcher reveals that he knew Kai's father and that they had fought together in the past. With a heavy heart, Hatcher somberly reveals that the mission they were embarking on was the one they were least prepared for. As he uncovers the mechanical prosthetic leg that he had provided to Kai, he continues, explaining their plan to infiltrate another prison, which happens to be located on a ship. After a brief pause, he emphasizes the need for more information. Hatcher goes on to disclose that their adversaries had captured Kai's father and intended to make a public example out of him during Liberation Day. Recognizing Kai's expertise as a pilot, Hatcher proposes a daring plan to rescue his father by hijacking a crucial ship and retrieving vital data. He assures Kai that he'll come back for him as soon as the mission is accomplished. Resolute and determined, Kai agrees to undertake the mission, and they prepare to launch into the vast expanse of deep space aboard a vessel known as Arrowhead. For most of the journey, he's placed in suspended animation, only awakening early to hack into the ship's records via the communications system. Hatcher instructs Kai on the mission's next step, explaining that all he needs to do is connect the device, and the wrist link will handle the entire process, downloading the crucial files and displaying information that alerts him to the system's temporary vulnerability. Despite his concerns, Hatcher advises Kai to proceed as it's just a temporary situation. Once the download is finished, Hatcher informs Kai about a peculiar flare outside the ship and instructs him to stay put until their rescue. He urges Kai to send the files in the meantime, placing his trust in him. Kai initiates the file transfer, but a system failure triggers instability in the ship. In a bid for safety, he aborts the file transfer, activates all the safety pods, and rushes toward the shuttle bay connected to the mothership. Inside the shuttle, Kai locks himself in and begins his descent to a desert moon. Fortunately, the landing is relatively gentle, and the shuttle remains undamaged. However, preliminary readings from the ship warn Kai that the moon's atmosphere might be toxic, with potential symptoms that could lead to paralysis or even death. As the onboard air system warns Kai to seek an alternative oxygen source due to depletion, a male voice crackles to life through the comms. The voice identifies itself as Oleander and urgently instructs any survivors to make their way to a designated location. Hearing this announcement, Kai exits the shuttle and heads toward the primary crash site. On his journey, he spots scattered debris from the crash and quickly checks for any survivors. Among the wreckage, he discovers a woman and brings her back to the shuttle. Upon her awakening, Taran accesses the shuttle's systems, still harboring suspicion. Taran questions why Kai wasn't on the launch pad with them, and after some tense dialogue, Taran explains that the launch pods are scheduled to depart soon and urges them to make their way there. As they journey together, they eventually spot the crashed ship in the distance and notice a peculiar obelisk not far from it. Taran deduces that Kai is working for Hatcher and goes on to recount a grim past, explaining that Hatcher was a malevolent figure who had conducted raids on colonies before the war, resulting in the deaths of thousands of people. Chi doesn't believe Taran's words and thinks it's just made-up stories. She knows that the people on her ship won't welcome Kai. So Kai leaves, returning to the shuttle to try and fly it to a nearby station. But when he tries to start the shuttle, it asks for codes he doesn't have, leaving him with no choice. In a hurry, he heads back to find Tyrion, who's almost at the shuttle. But just as they approach, the ship begins to take off, leaving them stranded. They desperately try to get the ship's attention, but something unseen pulls Kai into a hole, leaving Taran all alone on the rocky moon. Taran decides to explore, hoping to find another survivor. While walking, she's shocked to discover Kai's naked body covered in a strange substance, with his leg completely healed. She brings him back to the main ship and tests his blood, learning that his body has formed a unique partnership with another organism, which healed him and made him immune to the toxic environment. When Kai regains consciousness, Taran is eager to know how he feels and what he experienced. However, Kai can only express that he feels well and can't recall much about the experience. Concerned about their resources, Taran confirms that they are quite limited, and they set out to explore the moon in search of anything they can use for sustenance. During their exploration, they stumble upon Oleander, encased in some kind of cocoon and dragging his body towards the shuttle. They use an AI to scan it, gaining access to the shuttle's controls. After successfully getting the ship up and running, Carr refuses to let Oleander on board, fearing it would jeopardize their mission to rescue Kai's father. Carr recalls how Oleander protected her father when she was younger and insists that the man she once knew would never leave someone behind to die. Oleander awakens outside, disoriented and paranoid, and he begins to shout about Hatcher's imminent threat. He grabs a gun from the floor and shoots, tragically killing Taran before Carr can intervene. Consumed by anger over the loss of Taran, Kai unleashes his fury on all and beats Oleander to death before realizing that he too has been shot. When he regains consciousness, he's surrounded by the lifeless bodies of the two individuals. He makes his way into the shuttle and discovers that it's almost out of power since it had been running for 34 days, roughly the time he was asleep. The ship's AI also informs him that it detected Oleander's heartbeat while he was in slumber. Determined to restore power to the shuttle and reach New Holland before his father's execution, Kai tirelessly works on repairing the ship. One night, as he's resting, excruciating pain racks his body, prompting him to stagger outside. He undergoes a profound transformation, and when he awakens the following day, he finds himself naked on the sand. Kai deduces that the same symbiotic creature that saved his life had caused this transformation due to his unstable emotions. Returning to the ship, he resumes working on the power source, but the AI system notifies him that Liberation Day has been celebrated. 2 days after his transformation and overwhelmed by the loss of his father, Kai reaches a point of despair, lying on the ground, ready to accept his fate. As he continues to live on the moon, he resolves to gain control over his transformations to avoid losing more time. During a conversation with the AI one night, they ponder a theory. The AI suggests that both Kai and Hollander share a common symbiotic condition, but Hollander's symbiotic relationship appears to be permanent. The AI elaborates that death is now a part of their cycle, and even though Kai killed Oleander 3 years ago, his consciousness seems to persist in a new, replicated body, serving as a test of the theory. Following the AI's suggestion, Kai takes his own life, and, just as the AI predicted, he's resurrected in a new body, with his former carcass left as bait. He uses it to lure the old Oleander creature into a trap and shoots it. As the creature dies, a monstrous growling sound reverberates throughout the palace. When Kai discusses this with the AI, it mentions that it sensed the moon's reactions when Kai attempted to harm himself, suggesting that the moon seems to mourn each time one of them dies and activates its healing power. Shortly after, the AI hints at wanting to talk about Taran but waits for Kai to become impatient before doing so. Kai presses for answers, and the AI complies by playing an audio recording, revealing the night when it was believed that Taran had perished. Surprisingly, the evidence in the recording shows that Taran underwent her initial transformation and managed to escape cleverly. This revelation overwhelms Kai, who can't believe that the AI had withheld this crucial information for so long. Despite the sadness and the time lost in searching for Taran, Kai now possesses a renewed purpose and a strong determination to find her. Kai takes some parts from their ship to construct an air body, enabling him to move more freely. he embarks on a quest to uncover clues about Taran's whereabouts, leading him on an expedition throughout the area. During his journey, he stumbles upon a vast tunnel that seems to extend deeper as he continues to explore. While exploring the tunnels, Kai and the AI sense strong electromagnetic signals coming from within. Inside, Kai finds Oleander's original bodies attached to the walls, almost like the moon had merged with him. To end his suffering, Kai suffocates Oleander, also putting down the creature created from him. However, he can't do the same to his own transformed self, so he leaves the tunnels. Outside, Kai discovers clues indicating that Tyrion managed to escape, which fills him with excitement. As he discusses this with the AI, they witness objects on fire falling from the sky. Kai rushes to one of these objects, recognizing it from 3 years ago, and he's puzzled by its reappearance. The AI reveals classified information, explaining that the moon is part of a time dilation experiment. Shortly after, Hatcher arrives on the scene and informs Kai that only a few minutes have passed in the outside world. While Kai spent years on the moon, Kai tries to convey to Hatcher that the government planned to construct a prison on the planet, exploiting the time difference to rapidly produce thousands of pieces of equipment. Hatcher, showing no surprise, had already been aware of the moon's peculiar properties and had intentions to harness them for his own gain. When Carr refuses to divulge the information, Hatcher resorts to force, knocking him out. As Carr weakens, Hatcher reveals Tyrion, who had been kidnapped while attempting to escape. He threatens to kill her if Carr doesn't surrender the information, staring him down. Under pressure, Carr finally tells Hatcher that the information is in the research probe outside. However, when Hatcher goes to retrieve it, the probe is blown up by a hidden bomb, concealed within the artificial foot that had been provided to Carr just before he regrew his own. Carr transforms into his beastly form and dispatches all of Hatcher's men. Struggling to regain his human form, Tyrion helps calm him down, restoring some semblance of control. Kai and Tyrion are joyfully reunited and head towards Hatcher's ship, which is now under their control. When the AI inquires whether he plans to save his father, Kai asserts that he intends to save everyone. And with that, the movie concludes.